What's going on, YouTube? Tactics here, and today I have the post September 1st Lightsworn deck profile. And before I get into the deck profile, I just want to tell you, if I get 50 likes, I'll reveal my side deck. And I do know that there are more Lightsworn cards coming out, and once those things come out and I figure out where I want to put them in my deck and whatnot, I'll have another deck profile. So stay tuned for that. But for now, let's do this awesome Lightsworn deck profile, and it's going to be an in-depth one. It's going to explain almost every single card's effect and what they do and whatnot. So first of all, like every Lightsworn deck, you have your 3 Judgment Dragons. This is your boss monster. This card is once there's 4 Lightsworn monsters in the graveyard, you can special summon this card. You can sacrifice 1,000 life points and destroy the whole entire field. Then discard 4 at the end of the phase. This card is a very good card. Next, my favorite card, Lyla, 3 of them. This card is my favorite card because I can play this card and then use its effect, put it in defense mode, and destroy back row. And for this format, it's really good because a lot of people like to use their back row, and you gotta discard 3. Next, I got 3 Wulfs. This card is very, very good because since this whole deck is about discarding cards or milling cards, whatever you want to say, this card usually gets milled into the graveyard, and when it gets milled into the graveyard or discarded into the graveyard, it special summons in the field, and it's a 2100 beater. It's a very good card. Next, Lumina. This card is very, very good card too because you can do multiple plays with this. If you have another Lumina, you can use this effect and bring back. You can have 2 Luminas, and you can use that Lumina you just brought back from the graveyard to that effect and get a 3rd monster on the field. Also, you can XYZ summon, which I like to do when I have 2 Luminas out. Next, we get 2 Rykos. This card is a very good card because when this card is flipped, you mill 3 cards and you can destroy any card in the field, so it's very helpful. Now for the single Lightsworns, we got Celestia. I call this the mini Judgment Dragon because when you sacrifice a Lightsworn monster in order to summon this card, you discard 4 cards and you can destroy any 2 cards in the field, which is very good. Next, I got Jain. Jain is very useful in situations when people have like a really high attack monster, because when this card attacks when it's your battle phase, it gains 300, so it'll be at 2100, and you also discard 2 at the end of the phase. Next is Garoth. This card, when you have another Lightsworn monster in the field and this card on the field, and that Lightsworn monster discards, because that's what Lightsworn monsters do, then this card's effect activates, and you also discard. And for every card Garoth for every Lightsworn Garoth discards, you draw 1. So it's very good for drawing power. Next is Ehren, Lightsworn Monk. This card is a very good card as well, especially for people who like to use defense cards. But the weakness of this card is if the card is in defense mode and it's like a Ryko, or a Man-Eater Bug, the flip effect still works, but their card gets sent straight into their deck. So it's a very good card. Next, you got Honest. Honest is a must in every Lightsworn deck. I mean, some people say, oh, you don't need it, but I believe you need Honest because Honest really helps you. Like, if I have just like a Lumina and an Honest in my hand, I can play Lumina, and then they attack me, I can bring out Honest and use its effect, which is it gains the attack of the monster that's attacking, like Lumina. So Honest is a must. For the final light card, we got Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of Beginning. Everybody knows this card. You know, you remove from play a Dark and Light, special summon that card. You can use one of 2 effects. You can either attack, and if you destroy the monster, you can attack again. Or if you want to banish a card, you can also banish a card. Now that is all the dark ones. Now we have the light ones. Now the dark cards, we got 3 Necro Gardnas. If you guys have been watching my tests, Necro Gardna, people forget that's in the graveyard because this is a very good card in the graveyard, because once it's in the graveyard, if someone attacks, you can remove it from play and negate the attack, so it's very good. Next, Plaguespreader Zombie. This is your tuner. This is your only tuner for now. But this card also works really good in the graveyard. When it's in the graveyard, you can special summon it by taking one card from your hand and putting it on top of your deck. And once it gets destroyed after it's been special summoned, it gets banished. Next, Tragoedia. Some people say that they like to have like 2, but I think 1 is good enough because when someone attacks, you can automatically special summon it, and it gets 600 attack for each card in your hand, and then you can use you can use actually both effects. If you have, like, let's say you have like a level 4 monster and they have a level 4 monster on the field, you can discard that level 4 monster to take control of that card on the field. And then this also opens up an XYZ play, because then you can use effect, locate a level 4 monster in your graveyard, and this level goes to level 4, and you can XYZ summon. Very good card. You want this card in your deck. You want this card in your Lightsworn deck, because sometimes you only have Tragoedia and you have nothing else in your hand, and when they attack, you bring out that, and it starts out with a pretty high attack. Next is Gorz. I'm actually thinking about, once the new Lightsworn cards come out, I'm probably going to take it out because I don't really use it. But everybody knows Gorz. If you have nothing on the field and they attack you, you can special summon this, and then you can special summon a token. Or if you have nothing on the field and they take life points from like a burn deck or something like that, you can take equal amount of life points from that. It's a useful card, but you don't need it. And then finally we got Chaos Sorcerer. Chaos Sorcerer is like a mini Blacklist Soldier. You remove from play 1 dark, 1 light, and you can special summon this card. You can either attack with it or you can banish a face-up card on their field. Now that sums up all the monsters. I believe there's 27 monsters. Okay. Next we have the spell cards. The first one is Charge of Light Brigade. I wish they'd bring this to 2, but what this card lets you do is you discard 3 cards, and you can take 1 level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster from your deck and put it in your hand. So it's a search card. Next, one of my favorite cards is Solar Recharge. I have 3 Solar Recharges. What this card lets you do is you can discard 1 Lightsworn monster. Let's say you have a Wulf in your hand, because if you have Wulf in your hand, you can't summon it. It's a dead card. So you can discard that Wulf, and you can draw 2 and discard 2. Now this is from the last deck profile. This is what changed. I only have 2 Monster Reincarnations. People say you can use Beckoning of Light, but I really don't like Beckoning of Light. I did keep it in consideration, but I don't want Beckoning of Light. But this card is like my Monster Reborn for Judgment Dragon, because Judgment Dragon is you can only special summon it from your hand, not the graveyard. So I'll use this card and get it back. Next, we got Reinforcement of the Army. This card is another search card for your warrior cards like Garoth, Jain, Ehren, and 3 Necro Gardnas. So that's very helpful. And probably, I'm not sure, but maybe some of the new Lightsworn monsters that are coming out are warriors. I'm not 100% sure. Now, Foolish Burial, I like to do multiple plays with. First of all, the main play I like to use with this one is I like to play it, and then it says select 1 monster in your deck and send it to the graveyard. So I'll send my Wulf from my deck to the graveyard, and then that special ability activates and I special summon Wulf. Or if I have like a Lumina out, I can use Foolish Burial and put another Lumina into the graveyard. Then the Lumina that's on the field, I can use its effect, bring back Lumina from the graveyard, and then I can use the Lumina I just brought back and bring out another Lightsworn monster, and then I can XYZ summon Luminas. So Foolish Burial is what you want in your deck. And for the final spell card is Dark Hole. Everybody knows Dark Hole. It's one of the oldest cards in the game. Destroys all monsters on the field. Simple, plain and simple, easy. Dark Hole. Next, the trap cards. I didn't have traps last time, but now I do, thanks to you guys. And the first ones I have is Royal Decree. Only 2. You only need 2. You don't need any more than 2, because it's too cluttered if there's 2. And this card it just negates all traps on the field, and this card is really good for the ban list, because everything revolves around traps, and if you bring out this card, literally you can shut down a whole entire deck. I think one day, if the format continues just to be like a back row base, this card's going to get either banned or limited. Next and finally is my 2 breakthrough skills. I love this card because, one, I can set it face down on the field, and then I can flip it at the right time, and I can negate the effect of any effect monster on the opponent's side of the field, and that really stops a lot of decks. So I really love this card, and on top of it, it works in the graveyard. You can use this effect again as long as you banish it. So this card is a must in a Lightsworn deck, because even if you discard it to the graveyard, you can still use it. So I recommend this card. Now we're going to finally get to the extra deck, and that will be it for today. First of all, we got Mistworm. And Mistworm, I don't really use this card very often, but if I can get it out, it's a level 9. And if I can get it out, I can put 3 monsters or 3 cards from your opponent's side of the field back to their hand. So it's good and bad, because sometimes they want their stuff back in their hand or whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't know. You don't really need this card, but I have it. Next, I get Scrap Dragon. This card I don't really use very often, but it's very good because it's something you want in there. I think it's level 8. And when this card is special summoned, you can get rid of one of your cards and your opponent's card. So it's good and bad. Stardust Dragon. Everybody knows Stardust Dragon negates and comes back to the field. It's really a good card. I don't use it very often because really in a Lightsworn deck you don't Synchro Summon yet. But since the new cards coming out, I think you're gonna be able to Synchro Summon a lot more, and I cannot wait. Next we got Gaia Knight, the Force of Earth. This card I like to use every once in a while, once again, because sometimes you only have like really crappy cards in your hand. You can only get this guy out. It's 6-star and it's 2600 attack. There's no effect to it. It's just a beater. Next we got Ally of Justice Catastrophe. I actually use this card a lot because this card I think is overpowered. I think in the OCG or whatever they limited it or banned it, because when this card attacks anything besides a dark monster, it automatically destroys it, even if it gets attacked. So if you get some big bad Blue Eyes White Dragon attacking Ally of Justice Catastrophe, guess what? The Blue Eyes White Dragon loses, and this thing only has 2200 attack. And sometimes people forget about that. So this card is a must in your deck. I recommend this in every single side deck. Next is Armory Arm. I don't use this at all, to tell you the truth. If you guys want my side deck, this won't be in there. I promise. I promise my side decks will be a lot different. It would make the deck a lot different. But basically, this card can attach to another card and then self-destructs, and you guys both lose the same amount of life points. It's good and it's bad. It does some other stuff too, but I don't use it, so I don't even recommend it. Next, I got the Sun Dragon Overlord. This card is really helpful because let's say you're at the end of the duel, you only have 8 cards in your deck, and you got 2 Judgment Dragons, and at the end of the phase, your Judgment Dragons are going to mill the rest of your deck because each Judgment Dragon mills 4 cards from your deck. I like to XYZ summon to bring out this card so I don't have to mill, and usually this actually helps me win because it has an awesome effect, because I can just discard one of my XYZ materials. I can get rid of my hand. Let's say I have 3 cards in my hand and destroy 3 cards on their field. It's really, really good. I recommend this in this deck. I'm not sure about any other deck because I don't really know much, but this one is a must. Next, the number 39 Utopia. This is a very common card to put in there. And this card just negates attacks, and it's really high, 2500, so it's really good against a lot of cards. This card, I'm sure it's in everybody's deck. Next is the Butterfly. What this card lets me do is, let's say this guy is freaking out because he's about to lose, and he puts a card in defense mode saying, ha ha ha, I'm going to win. I have 2 level 4s on there. I can bring him out, or her out, and detach material, flip that card from defense to attack mode, and then they lose. That card loses 600 attack, so this card is a really good card to have in there. And then My Stroke. This card does basically the opposite. What this card does is, let's say they have some type of Blue Eyes White Dragon out there, you can use this card's ability and put it into face down defense mode. This card I think this is in most side decks as well. One of the new cards I added is number 50 Black Ship of Corn. I believe this card should be in almost every single side deck because its effect is amazing. It's really easy to bring out. It's got 2100 attack, and what it does is if you have this card and you have XYZ material, then you can discard one of your XYZ materials, and if the card that you're and then it just targets a card on their side of the field, and if it's 2100 attack or less, that card gets destroyed and they lose 1000 points, but in return this card cannot attack. This card is, I really don't know how to say it, but I'm going to call it Star. This card is also very helpful. It only has 2000 attack, but its effect is really good. You remove 2 XYZ materials from this card, and you target a card on their field, and it goes to 0 attack. This card is another must that should be in a deck. Now for the rank 3s, I got Wind Up Zen Mains, and this card is good in tight situations. When I want to special summon in defense mode, it has 2100 defense, so it's actually pretty good. And if they attack it, you can, and they can destroy it, you can remove one of your XYZ materials and negate that attack. And at the end of their phase, another effect activates, and you can destroy a card on the field. This card is another must. I think this is in most decks. Next, I got number 17, Leviathan Dragon, my sexy ghost rare here. And this card is a really good beater. It's only a 3 level, rank 3. This is how I get my. I usually use my Luminous to get this guy out because I can just remove from play 1 XYZ material each time. If you only have 2, and I can get up to a max of 3000 attack points. So I recommend this card as well. And then finally, a new card, Levair the Sea Dragon. Very handy card because most of the time, like your Envoy of the beginning or your Chaos Sorcerers or your Necro Gardnas are going to be removed from play, and you can special summon this card, remove XYZ material, and target one of your removed from play cards and special summon on your field in defense or I think attack mode as well. So another card really should be in the Lightsworn deck. Now once again, if I get 50 likes, I will give you my side deck. Also, I do have the tournament, the 150 subscriber tournament. I need 3 more duelists and 3 more coaches. If you guys are up for that and you want to win some free Yu-Gi-Oh packs of your choice, then go to my website. It will be in the link below. And sign up, and it can be more than 10 people. So thank you for watching this deck profile of the Lightsworn deck, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.